He's just a hack. He's just an absolute hack. And he gets his ass kicked by his teammates every week. It's just, it's terrible. It's just terrible.
This news that Wisconsin is firing Paul Chryst is extremely unexpected. And I have to say, just looking at Paul Chryst and his performance as a head coach at Wisconsin, I think that this firing is a little bit unjustified. I think that this was impatient. I think that this was a reactionary move. I understand that this season they have looked very, very bad. Last season was a tough year for them, despite them finishing with a decent record. But before that, we have multiple really good seasons under Chryst at Wisconsin. 10-3, 11-3, 13-1. He had an 8-5 season in 2018. 2019, he was 7-2. 2020 COVID year, 4-3. Last season, 2021, he was 9-4. And they had a rough loss to Notre Dame and some other difficult losses. I know that Wisconsin has not been consistently one of the top teams in the Big Ten. And I understand the frustration from some Wisconsin fans. But because of the recent lull from that 2020 season to now and how badly they've played, it just feels like that this is a very reactionary decision. Feels like it is a very, you just got embarrassed by Illinois and Ohio State in back-to-back weeks. We're tired of it. We're just going to move on and we're going to start looking. He was already a guy who had a tie to the program and, again, has produced positive results. They've played in Big Ten championship games. And Wisconsin is not an easy place to recruit to. It's just not a program that you can consistently get five-star recruits, especially when you're competing with Michigan and Ohio State and now USC. Simply, separate from that, the way that I look at this decision, I think it's that Wisconsin now feels that they have a fire under their ass as a university, as an athletic program, that you're adding USC, UCLA's, they are what they are, but USC is going to make it all the more competitive and difficult to compete for a Big Ten championship game. And then, there's possible even added expansion to the Big Ten that is going to make it very, very competitive for Wisconsin and difficult for them to finish at the top of the conference. I think that this was just a move to try and put themselves in a position to succeed for the future landscape of college football. That being said, who are the candidates here? With like 5 minutes to go, I put together a list of candidates that I thought made a lot of sense. There are names I'm going to be missing. And if there's somebody who you think I should include, please drop a comment. I want to hear who you think. Here are the guys, because this is a big program, albeit it is a difficult place to recruit to. This is a premier brand in college football. This should attract a big name coach. This should attract somebody who's already a head coach at another program that's maybe a mid-tier Power 5 program that is going to want to take over. I just talked about the Colorado situation. That job is nowhere near comparable. That's like an offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator job takes that over. Instead here, this is a big name job. I'm going to throw out a bunch of names here. The first one, and I think that this one is the most obvious, and this is the guy that you have to throw the bag at. You need to throw every dollar you have at him to attract him to leave. And I think that this is going to be the guy that they hire. Lance Leipold from Kansas has to be the guy that they hire. He previously coached at Wisconsin Whitewater. I don't know off the top of my head the rest of his background and where he's been or where he's particularly from, but he has coached in Wisconsin and produced results at a Division III program in Wisconsin. That is laudable and proof that he can produce results in Wisconsin and he has a connection there. He has since produced highly competitive teams at Buffalo and now at Kansas. And I have talked endlessly on this show and on this stream about how freaking good Kansas is. And for anyone who follows college football knows how hard it is to produce a good Kansas team. It is not easy. It is very, very difficult. And I know that they're now providing more effort and commitment at Kansas, but him doing that is a total testament to how good he is as a coach. Lance Leipold has to be the guy. That has to be who you offer the money to. That needs to be who you go after. And I have for those who think that Nebraska should go after Leipold or some of these other openings should go after Leipold, out of any of them, this is the most likely for him to go to. He belongs at a Midwestern school, and Wisconsin is a big opening for him. And this is this is literally the perfect opportunity for him. And if he's going to leave, it is going to be a Wisconsin offering if they offer him. I think that is the likely outcome here. The other two that I have, and I've got one that's kind of a wild card, and Colin's thrown out Chris Peterson, who retired after previously being Washington's head coach. It's possible. I just don't know how easy it is to convince a guy to come out of retirement. It's possible. But Matt Campbell at Iowa State, who has always been discussed when these openings become available for bigger programs. He was brought up in the Notre Dame opening, and I think that Wisconsin fits that, that mold of a good Midwestern school that he would be willing to take over. Matt Campbell, we know, has produced really good results for the Cyclones. That team has been highly competitive in his entire time being there. I know they just lost to Kansas, but Matt Campbell is a guy who can steer the ship and is going to bring the intensity and the tone that you want for your Wisconsin team. Wisconsin is always has that, that notoriety of a hard-nosed running team, really good defensive team. And I think that you're getting that with Matt Campbell. You can get a guy who's going to fit the tone and the vibe. And he is somebody who I think is right below Leipold as the next best opportunity or next best guy to go after. Just depends if Wisconsin is a school that Campbell wants to leave Iowa State for.